Hello, Brady Kelly here with GetTechSavvy at GetTechSavvyNow.com. Today we're going to talk about websites and domains. Basically, you need to know this stuff when it comes to creating a website. Obviously, if you want to create a website, you need to know a little bit about websites and also domains. Now, what are domains? Domains, if you want to look up here actually on my website, this is my domain right here, GetTechSavvyNow.com. I actually bought this domain, and it's now mine. I rent it out for year-by-year basis, and I get to house my website at this domain as long as I'm paying for it. So out there in the world, there's a bunch of domains, basically whatever you can come up with, and you have the ability to buy or rent that domain to house your website on. Now, domains are different than a web host because you actually have to have your web host host your domain, which hosts your website, if that makes sense. So domains are important things, and you can actually go out and buy whatever domain you want to, even as long as it's not taken already. Even if you don't have a web hosting service, there's many domain registrars out there, domain name registries that will allow you to buy domains. Here's one of them called Namecheap. Another popular one is called GoDaddy. Really, there's a lot of domain websites out there where you can buy domains from. And if you don't have a website yet and you want to reserve your name, your domain name, then jump onto one of these websites and go and reserve it. Most domains, regardless of what you do, I mean, sometimes you can get on in a good deal, and sometimes they say, just $3.99 a year. To tell you the truth, most domains, especially when it comes to the .com and .net and .org area, they cost around $10 to $15 a year. So you really come out to about the same regardless of where you go. If you're really trying to pinch your pennies, Namecheap's pretty good. I'd recommend them to get a little bit cheaper domain. There's one thing to realize though when it comes to buying domains. Wherever you buy your domain, that's where it's housed at. And for you to be able to start building a website on it, you have to house it in a place. You have to transfer it over to your web host. And so that's really something that you need to keep in mind when you do this. Sometimes, obviously Namecheap offers web hosting services, but to tell you the truth, I wouldn't recommend their web hosting service. Same with GoDaddy. They do hosting as well, but I wouldn't recommend their web hosting service. And so what I recommend you do is I would only recommend using these if you don't have a website right now, you won't for a little while, and you want to reserve your domain, and go out and buy it here. If you do have a web host, or you want to get a web host and you know you need to, then hold off a little bit, and when you sign up for your web hosting service, you get a free domain with your sign up usually. So most web hosting services will give you a free domain with your sign up. And so that's something to keep in mind. Also, on top of that, for example, I actually have 6 or 7 domains that I've built websites on in my web host. And the easiest way to buy a domain so that you don't have to worry about transferring a domain is to just buy the domain through your web host. Sometimes it's a little bit more expensive, just a couple bucks more expensive a year, which isn't too bad. But it saves the headache of transferring the domain. Just give you a quick insight. I was transferring a domain from GoDaddy the other day, and what you have to do is you have to come into GoDaddy, log in, authorize the domain to be transferred, get all the information. There's these secret codes that you have to get out of, that they provide for you from GoDaddy, and then you come into your web host, you get into the back end there, and you say you want to transfer a domain, you enter the secret codes, you click transfer, and then GoDaddy receives that request, and anywhere from instantly to 24 to 48 hours later, you'll receive an email that says, hey, this person wants to transfer your domain, this web host wants to transfer your domain, do you authorize this? And then you have to go in and authorize it, and then finally 24 to 48 hours later, it will transfer your domain. And so it can be quite a process sometimes to get your domain transferred. I don't want to make it sound like way over the top, but I have had instances where it's taken a little while longer than we expected, and it's pushed off development of a website because of it. So, my recommendation, if you know you're going to get a web host, hold off on getting your domain until you get your web host, because you'll get a free one with it. And if you want to get any other ones on top of that, if you want to get some more domains and build more websites, I would recommend getting your domain just straight through your web host. It's not that much more expensive, and you don't have to worry and hassle about transferring, which can be a big hassle sometimes. So that's the lowdown on domains. You can go out and get your domain at a .com, .org, .net, whatever, and you can have it be whatever as well, as long as it's not already taken. Obviously, there's a lot that are taken, but you can get creative. For example, here, I wish I could have got Get Tech Savvy, but it's already taken, and so I did Get Tech Savvy Now instead. So that's something to keep in mind. You can always throw on some extra words, or something, get something kind of fun in there to get the name that you want, basically. So I like GetTechSavvyNow.com. It's awesome, and I'm going to stay here. So that's lowdown on domains. When it comes to website, you need to remember that you need to have a domain before you can really build a website. So make sure you have a domain registered with your web host, and then that's when you can start getting started on your first website. So hopefully this was helpful to you. Once again, this is Brady Kelly with Get Tech Savvy at GetTechSavvyNow.com.